the cloud. Okay, hi. My name is Belle. I am with Living Well here at Texas A&M. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. We'll have a few more people trickle in here, but we are excited to have Amber and Rachel from the Brazos Valley Area Area Agency on Aging. I fumble over that. I nailed it earlier this morning, I
You
swear.
did.
Thank you, thank you. I did. But I'm so excited to have them speak to everyone about just who they are in general, if you don't know, and then just how to handle the holidays coming up if you do have those older people or older persons in your home. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will be monitoring the chat there for you. And then this is recorded, so if you do have to hop off, I will be able to put this on our YouTube channel. So if you also are unaware, here's a little plug. Living Well has a YouTube channel where if we are able to record a program, we will, and we will put that up there for your convenience. Without further ado, here's Amber and Rachel from BV AAA. So take it away.
Okay. Sharing the screen.
We hope everyone had a good morning. We're going to introduce who we are first because, well, no one really knows what the Brazos Valley Area Agency on Aging. And so we're going to do that first. So I'm Rachel Foster, and this is my
Amber
coworker,
Neel.
Amber. Yeah.
Okay. Can everyone see the screen? Should verify that first.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All righty.
Okay, so the Area Agency on Aging of the Brazos Valley is actually under the Brazos Valley Council of Government. And we provide services that are meant to promote the independence and improve the quality of life for the seniors, older adults that are 60 and older in the Brazos Valley, which is the 7 surrounding counties. And so these are some of the services that we provide. And you can see those on the screen. And we're going to just take time to go through each one of these and kind of briefly explain what they are and how you in the area can tap into these resources, okay? All right, so the first one is in-home services. Well, actually, these are Amber services. So I'm gonna let Amber tell you more about her services. And this is the reason why she's doing the presentation.
Okay, so we have some in-home services through our agency. We have both homemaker services and respite services. They are essentially the same thing. Homemaker services are more catered toward older individuals age 60 and older who live at home by themselves, who are homebound, who have just difficulty doing things around the home. And so we contract with agencies who can come in a limited capacity. Our services are limited just one day a week, typically for a few months. So it's not a long-term solution, but it's something to help people out for a little while. But people can come in and help with things like housekeeping, grocery shopping, making food, so things like that. And then we also have the respite services. So respite services are essentially meant to be a break for caregivers. It's the same type of things. The contracted agencies come in, help out around the home, but it allows an opportunity for any caregivers to step away for a little bit. And so a lot of caregivers that I work with, that's all they need is if they want to be able to, get their hair done or their nails done at least once a week or something, or go take care of errands, things that they couldn't normally do because caregiving is their full-time job. And then we also have emergency response buttons, the life alert buttons, the help, I've fallen, I can't get up. And we also offer those. And so kind of lump that in with the respite services because that could also be a way for caregivers to just make sure their loved ones are taken care of if they fall or something.
And you can see that these are great services. And one of the things that we wanted to add to that, because these are great services, and what makes them even greater is that we are funded through federal funds, through the state, to provide these services for free. And because they are for free and we do not test people's income or anything like that, our goal is to serve those who are low income, but we'll serve anyone regardless of their financial situation, because these services are expensive if you have to pay them privately. The only issue is that we are funded and have a small budget. So oftentimes these services have a waiting list. So just be aware, these are great services, and we are not selling you anything. I should have put that in the front. These are all services paid by tax funds through the federal and state government. So that's why these things have a waiting list, is because they're vastly needed. We just don't get enough funds to cover all the demand. So there is a waiting list for that. All these services, in fact. All right, so the other thing that we get funded is benefits counseling. So we get state and federal funds to help people understand Medicare at no cost, with no connection to insurance companies or health plans, okay? We're strictly funded through the federal funds. And so if you call 1-800-Medicare and you need local help, it's going to come to our desk, okay? And so this benefit counseling helps us to tell people new to Medicare or who've been on Medicare forever how to use a Medicare, answer questions of the things they saw on TV, of maybe about the letters and the emails that they're getting, all about the scams and things like that. It's to help the individuals who are on Medicare, but also for family and caregivers, because if they're taking their loved one to the doctor and the doctor's like, well, what's their insurance, what's their Medicare coverage, and you have no idea, or it's Medicare open enrollment that we just got done with, and your loved one saying, I need help with the computer to select the plans, and you just don't know how to help them, that's what we do. And so we do give unbiased information about Medicare. We'll tell you the plus and minuses about the options that you have. We'll personalize based on what they're eligible for. We'll also screen them about if they're eligible for low income assistance too, as well, if they can qualify. Medicare and Medicaid are oftentimes confused. So we'll help explain the differences and help people understand how to tap into that if they're eligible for Medicaid fund services. We also will go to places and do this education. So we'll do one-on-one education, as well as go to churches, senior centers, health fairs, agency. You saw our faces there at the A&M Health Fair. We're in the community, and so we go to the 7 surrounding counties. Also, just to let you know, if you have a loved one who is not in the Brazos Valley, well, guess what? There's somebody like us in every county connected to every county in the United States. There's Area Agency on Aging that is funded to do these services that we do in every county in the United States. So oftentimes you say Area Agency on Aging and what county it is, and then it will pull up what Area Agency on Aging is over that. So they will provide the similar, or if not the exact same services that we are doing. So with the benefit counselors, we're oftentimes answer questions like, when and how do I start my Medicare? What do I need to do? I'm almost 65, or I've been working, how do I start my Medicare? Things like that. And how then Medicare works with insurance. What's great is that you have a great HR department that will tell you, hey, our retirement insurance plan does work with Medicare, and this is what it is. Most of the time, they're going to be able to answer those questions for you too as well. But if you have loved ones that are not obviously on A&M insurance, we are then the go-to person for that. And if you have any issues with Medicare, things aren't going right, we'll tell you what your Medicare rights are. We're also talking about promoting the preventative services that Medicare covers, what they do and do not cover. We'll sit you again on how to find resources that are also help you cover the cost on Medicare, the Medicaid fund sources, but also there's some of them that are connected to prescription drugs and things like that, manufacturing programs and things like that. We can help refer to and how to get to those things. Okay.
Rachel's the only one listed here. I'm saying our head benefits counselor, but there are several other people who are also benefits counselors. We all wear many hats here at the AAA, but most of us do at least the benefits counseling.
So the evidence-based programs, these are the things that actually been going on for a long time, but mainly now headed up through the Brazos Valley Area Agency on Aging. But we do health and wellness programs in the area. So we can help connect churches, even with A&M, how to tap into these classes. These are all evidence-based, means they were written by somebody way smarter than I have. They were in research and found that they help to improve people's health as well confidence to be healthy. And so we have listed some of the classes that we do. A Matter of Balance, which deals with fall prevention and how older adults are at risk for falling. We also do, the next ones are kind of a chronic disease self-management. It's how to manage chronic conditions and how to do that well. I'm living with chronic pain. Those that have chronic pain know how frustrating it can be and how do we manage that in our everyday life. We also do a diabetes self-management class that helps us deal with the daily routines that we need to do. We have diabetes so that we can be healthy and how to eat healthy and how to exercise. This is a great class for those that are pre-diabetic as well as new to diabetes or who have diabetes forever and they just never have taken time to learn it. Or if you have learned it and just want that re-education, but as well as it's self-management. So it's kind of a support-like atmosphere too, as well, like a small support group. We also have a program that Amber and I would love to be able to do is building a better caregiver, and it's focused on how to deal with stress with caregivers. All these things can be done, like you said, some of these things we can do virtually, some of these we prefer doing in person because how impactful it is. But again, we travel well. So we will go to churches, groups, senior centers, everywhere, anywhere in the 7 surrounding counties. Okay. And again, like everything, these are free and covered by state funds. Information and referral and assistance. What this is that you have a situation, you don't know who to go to, where to start, where to begin, and it's about age-related issues, then give us a call and we can point you to the direction and where to go. That's what we spend a lot of our time is that, especially with new caregivers, they just like, oh, I don't know where to go, or what resources, what is this called? What's the difference between home health and in-home services? And I need help in the home, but do I need a nurse or not? Those kind of things we can help educate people. And so that's what we spend a lot of time is just referring people to the right locations and where to go for those answers. Now we have I like to call our sister organization. It's the Brazos Valley Aging and Disability Resource Center. And so they are in our same department in a sense, but it's run by Maria Molina and Jordan Scamato, and they are great. They do very similar things like we just saw with the Area Agency on Aging, the benefits counseling, information referral, but they also kind of focus on some things like long-term option counseling. That's like dealing with nursing homes and things like that. They also help navigate Health and Human Services, the Medicaid office and things like that, programs with Medicare. But they also not just focus 60 and older, but they also help the disabled community to provide these resources too as well. They don't provide like programs, but they can tell you where to go. So they are a resource center to help direct you with community resources in the area that help with those things too as well. And one of the major things is they do help with the benefits counseling, the Medicare services too as well. So we're really glad that they are on board and help us out with that too as well. Okay.
Okay. Oh, one more.
The Ombudsman program. This is a really important part of our department. They are the long care ombudsman, and they advocate for those that are in a nursing home and in assisted living. They help identify and investigate and resolve problems related to health and safety and welfare and the rights of those living in those places. They don't do, once they find an issue and they will determine, does this need the state regulatory people or is this something that they can handle, they will determine. But their whole job is to advocate for residents in those facilities. And it can be for those who are in rehab, located at a nursing home. So it doesn't have to be long-term stay residents. They can be there as long as they're in a nursing home or assisted living or skilled nursing, they can help advocate. And so sometimes those people just need somebody to be a voice for them. And so this is really crucial because there are many of our areas, I forgot the numbers, like 37 or something like that.
I think so.
37 in the surrounding counties. Well, I feel bad that we don't know the exact numbers, but our coworker does. She can pull it out of her hat. But we have two staff people that help. Their names right there, Jessica and Maria. And they also have a large number of volunteers that help serve those 7 surrounding county areas. And so that's something that you are interested in becoming a volunteer. This is something that you can be trained and help do this, because it really is important that we have somebody at every nursing home and assisted living facility to be a voice for those there. And so it really does help improve the quality of life and maintaining their dignity as they are aging in their place of living.
We do have a question.
Okay.
Well, a couple questions. So one, will the slides be made available or just the recording?
They can be made available.
Okay, cool. You can just send those to me and I'll send them out. And then also the second question is, are the classes scheduled regularly?
The
Yeah.
evidence-based program classes, we try to schedule regularly. Right now, we have difficulty with scheduling some of them.
This is we're redesigning the plans right now. We had a partnership with St. Joseph, and due to changes in staff and priority, we're having to change how we do that. So right now we're on what's called demand and response, where there is a site or a location that needs or wants and requests these programs, we'll bring it to them almost immediately. We're still working out on the details about where we can do it on a regular basis. But our first one of the year is the Matter of Balance class that we are doing it next door to our building starting January 14th. Whatever that Tuesday is in January at 10 o'clock. And so you can always reach out to me and we'll get you signed up. But it is designed, like I said, for people 60 and older and their loved one, their caregiver. So they can participate, both of them can participate in the classes live. So, any other questions?
Good for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit now. As we all know, it's December, it's time for the holidays. And so we're gonna talk a little bit about caregiving during the holidays. So I'm opening this question out to all of you, or opening this up to all of you. Why are the holidays stressful sometimes? Or how are they stressful?
Feel free to unmute or use the chat. So why are the holidays stressful sometimes?
In what ways?
We have trying to meet everyone's expectations. We miss loved ones who aren't there. That's true. I would say sometimes even differences in who raised you and how you think now, that can be pretty difficult sometimes.
Yeah, navigating the family dynamics is a big one sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Hectic
we all
schedule.
have different family traditions, right? And so it's how we were born and how we and who we adopt into the family. Sometimes that can make it real stressful. You know,
Yeah.
we had a big argument with my husband whether we have tinsel or not on the tree. You know, those kind of simple things can make things really stressful. And you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe we argued about something as simple as tinsel on a tree, right?
That's funny, yeah, because we also have hectic schedules trying to fit everything in, running out of energy to fully decorate, and then you kind of get disappointed, changing traditions and as people pass. So that's a hard one too.
So it seems like we can all agree for the most part that the holidays are stressful. On this next slide is a video. It's a clip from a movie. The clip, it relates it to moms, all the stress of Christmas to moms specifically. But we all know that dads or people who aren't parents are also stressed. So just saying that.
Christmas of white, that I'll have a blue, blue Christmas.
I'm Amy Mitchell, and this year, I ruined Christmas. Christmas is by far the most stressful time of the year for moms. There are a million things to do, and you have to do them all perfectly or else you will never forgive yourself. And more importantly, neither will your kids. I literally feel like the worst mom in the world right now. Maybe I should start at the beginning. I've always loved Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year. Most of all, I love the time with my family. Because all I want, all any mom wants, is for their kids to have an amazing Christmas. That said, Christmas is an insane amount of work. First, you have to buy gifts for every human being you've ever met. I gave my coffee guy a scented candle this year. Why did I do that? Then, you have to decorate your house, which clearly I suck at. I'm doing the best I can, Charmaine! Then, you have to go to all your kids' Christmas shows, which are... yeah. Then, there's all the over-the-top Christmas parties. Oh my god. Are these lobster Santa hats? Are these a thing now? Then there's all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the wrapping. It's insane. There's just never enough time. Ugh.
Okay, now I can definitely relate to a lot in that video, and I bet a lot of you can as well. Really just wanting to highlight the fact that while the holidays are known as a time of joy and just happy times, they're also really stressful. Now, as a caregiver, you have to deal often with all the stuff that we've talked about, stuff you saw in that video, but you are also a caregiver, which just adds stressors of its own. So some of the ways the holidays can be stressful as a caregiver. So sometimes there's difficult feelings towards others. And this is towards other family members specifically. If you are the sole caretaker of your mom and you have siblings that you feel aren't stepping up enough or assisting in the caregiving or responsibilities enough, you might not be too happy with them during the holidays. Inability to fully participate. So if you are a caregiver for someone who has any cognitive impairments or like dementia, for example, you may feel that you can't fully participate in family gatherings because you have to care for your loved one. Feeling overwhelmed as a caregiver, caregiving in itself is stressful and it can be overwhelming. And so all this additional stress of the holidays can just exacerbate everything a little bit. And sometimes you may not be able to travel. And so if all your family is getting together in Connecticut for the holidays, but you're here in Texas taking care of mom or dad, you may not be able to get them on a plane to go to Connecticut with your family. And so some of that FOMO or fear of missing out a little bit too, because the reality is you can't travel necessarily all the time. So now that we've talked about all the doom and gloom and the stressful stuff, we're going to actually give you some tips of ways that you can navigate the holidays as a caregiver. So first and foremost, the holidays can present an opportunity for communication. So the holidays usually bring together a lot of family members. And if you are honest with communicate or honest in your communication with your family members. You know, if you give them the reality or tell them about the realities of caregiving, that it can be difficult. They may not know how stressful it can be, and they may not have understood. But if you're honest with them and just open about, you know, your situation and what you're dealing with, it may present them with an opportunity to offer assistance, or feel like, well, maybe I should step up a little bit more.
And I think this takes to that honest communication of what your actual needs are. And we have to understand that we have to express what those needs are as a caregiver. We can't expect our loved ones to be able to read our mind and know what's on our to-do list or what's on our I can't do list. And so we really do need to take that honest communication with ourselves and then communicate that with an honest, assertive, but understanding communication, using those I messages so that our loved ones can know that we need that. And I know that's easier said than done. And that's where it's very difficult to do sometimes, especially if our communication stream with those family members aren't good in this first place.
Yeah. And so the alternative to being open and communicative with family members during the holidays, in other scenarios, you may want to let sleeping dogs lie. Before the holidays come around, if you feel a lot of resentment or frustration towards, I say siblings because that's an easy example, but towards those people that you think are not stepping up enough, you might want to really decide for yourself, do I want to bring this up during the holidays to where it may turn into a confrontation potentially, or do I want to, you know, maybe just put it on the back burner for now, get through the holidays, and then make it a point to speak with these people. And so that all depends on family dynamics. So like Rachel said, if you already have difficult relationships with your family members, then you may want to wait until after the holidays. Or clearing the air before the holidays could be an option as well. So we also want to be upfront about your capabilities. So as a caregiver, especially if you work, so all of you are employees at A&M, and so you work a part-time, full-time job there. Caregiving is also a full-time job oftentimes. And so you'll probably be pretty tired or have not a lot of energy during the holiday season with all the added stress and all of the added events going on. So you just want to know, and this is with the communication again, be upfront with your family members that you're very busy as a caregiver. And so you only have so much energy or so much time to do holiday preparation or hosting things. So just be upfront about your own abilities.
And I think it's important then too to also to schedule time for yourself for self-care. We oftentimes run out of energy because we're not putting focus on self-care. Am I getting enough sleep? Am I sacrificing and putting less hours of sleep in because I've got to perfectly wrap everything or whatever like that? And or can I pay for somebody to put up my Christmas lights instead of doing it myself? So making sure that you make time for self-care, because that will help maybe keep your energy level up or recover quicker. But if we sacrifice our self-care and not doing the things that are healthy choices or getting good sleep, we're not going to have the energy we need in order to keep up and do these things.
Mm-hmm. And so as a caregiver, so Rachel said something earlier that I wrote down because I liked it, but it was expect the unexpected. So sometimes as a caregiver, you have to adapt. And when it comes to the holidays, you may have had these family traditions for years and years and years, but you also have to now take into consideration, first of all, your abilities, but also your loved ones' abilities, the person that you're caring for, because they may not be able to do all of the things that they once did. So one of the things you may have to adapt is adjusting meals. So if, for example, every single year you've hosted Christmas at your house, had all your loved ones come over and you cooked all the food yourself, Well, that may not be realistic anymore if you're a caregiver now. And so you can do things like simplify the menu instead of a full 5-course meal, could be more simple things.
Or it could be a potluck,
Yep. a
or you can
potluck.
order in.
Mhm.
All those things really could truly adjust. And the more you communicate those things with the people involved, the funner it becomes, because they feel like they're contributing to that new tradition.
Or, you could switch it up and have the holidays at someone else's house so that they can take care of all of this. So there's ways to make changes. And I know we don't like change usually. I feel like humans are usually creatures of habit, but sometimes, especially as a caregiver, I mean, you have to make changes. Efficient gift giving. And by that, I mean, just think of your financial situation, because as a caregiver, sometimes your finances are a little bit more depleted if you're, paying for care for a loved one, if you are, I mean, there's numerous ways that you could be a little more strapped for money than usual. And so, gift giving could be, instead of buying an item for someone, it could be making it a point or scheduling time to spend time with them, an activity to do with them. Or like my family, we do white elephants. So we don't get gifts for every single person. We just get a gift and then have a fun game out of it. Or you do, Secret Santa and things like that, where you're only buying for one person. And so there's ways to also adapt the gift giving, which we don't want to do, but sometimes we have to. And there's a lot more to consider and take into account when you become a caregiver. And then lastly, you can start new traditions. If we don't want to focus on the losses, so we don't want to focus on the things that we and our loved ones can't do anymore, but we want to think about, what are some new things that we can do?
And I think sometimes some of those old traditions get frustrated when they're lost, is because as a caregiver, and especially our loved ones' chronic conditions, things are so unpredictable. We can't know if mom's dementia is going to get away with the traditional looking around at Christmas lights at Central Park, or, with maybe dad's Parkinson's, with his inability to walk around and he has a cane, he can't walk around Central Park. How can we adapt those new traditions? We can talk about those new traditions, but how we can adapt them, even amongst the unpredictedness of your loved one's condition. So finding ways, well, instead of doing it in the evening, can we do something in the morning when they're in a better spirits or whatever like that? Can we change, instead of doing Christmas Eve dinner, can we do Christmas Eve breakfast or Christmas breakfast? Things like that will really help, even though things are unpredictable, doing the best we can with what we know that they're capable of doing, making those adjustments as best we can, but then being flexible during that time period. This is what we want to go, but if dad or mom or even our son who has limited abilities, what's best for them? When can we do it? And also plan some breaks times. If we plan everything out 24-hour schedule, those are unrealistic, right? So maybe we can do a 1-hour event or a 2-hour event here and there, and allow those people to recover, allow us to recover. So make smaller moments instead of trying to make 2 or 3 day events.
Okay. And Rachel's already highlighted the fact that we want to care for ourselves as caregivers, but I mean, we cannot stress this enough. If you are depleting your resources, it's hard to care for others if you don't care for yourself. So some ways to do that during the holidays. I like this first one. Share a wish list. And so this could be something that you share with family members. Some families, ask for wish lists from each other of, well, what do you want for Christmas or the holidays? But as a caregiver, some things that you could add on your wish list for the holidays is respite. So you can make it a point to say, I would like a break sometimes from caring for whoever it is you're caring for. Home repairs. So if you are a full-time caregiver on top of a full-time employee, there's some other things that may be falling on the back burner a little bit. And that might be home repairs, just fixing up small things around the house. But that can be something that during this time of giving and gift giving specifically could be something that you ask for. You can ask for a little self-care things, so getting a massage or a facial or something, whatever you enjoy. And when we talk about self-care and caring for yourself, you want to first make sure it's something that you actually enjoy. Or maybe you even see if during the holiday season, if you're paying for care for your loved ones, usually out of your own pocket, see if a sibling or someone else could help you out a little bit during the holidays. So we've already talked about communication. This is a time that you might be able to communicate a little more with loved ones, but it's also a time to ask for specific needs. Another way to care for yourself and avoid burnout when it comes to being a caregiver is to reflect on the rewards of caregiving. So while caregiving is stressful a lot of the time, for a lot of people, it's also fulfilling. I mean, especially if you're caring for a parent and when you were younger or when they were younger, they might have said, when I'm older, can you care for me, please? Don't put me in a home, things like that, which some parents will say that to their kids. But by you caring for them now, you're fulfilling that promise to them essentially. And while it's stressful, it's also oftentimes a way for you to connect even more with your loved ones. If you're with them 24/7, just about, it can strengthen relationships and stuff. So you want to just focus on the positives of being a caregiver as much as possible. And so with the positives, you want to keep a positive mindset. So if we think of just all of the negative things of caregiving, of the holidays, negative thinking, it activates your body's stress response. And so whenever you're thinking negatively or thinking about all the negative things, the things that are going wrong during the holiday season, it can actually impact your health. If you have prolonged stress and don't do anything about it, if you don't care for yourself, attempt to mitigate the stress, it can actually take a toll on your health. So we want to avoid that, and keeping a positive mindset can be part of that. So, think about what you can still accomplish or what your loved one can still do instead of what's not getting done or what they can't do anymore. So there's a way to put a positive spin on most things, but it's easier said than done a lot of the time too.
And I feel like that if we have that positive mindset, oftentimes solutions tend to come up. When we're negative, sometimes finding those solutions to the problems that come up is almost impossible. So that positive mindset and look at it in a positive way, addressing the realistic part of it, oftentimes the solutions to dealing with the situation will come up.
Connect with other caregivers. So, and this is another point that I really want to stress. Chances are there's someone else who knows exactly what you're going through. Locally, there's a lot of caregiver support groups, and I realize now I should have included that on our slideshow here, but we do have a list, so if anyone would like that list. But it's good to connect with people who are either going through what you're going through or have gone through what you're going through. And that's what a lot of these caregiver support groups turn into. There may be people there who aren't even necessarily caregivers anymore, but they were, and they feel like they know, all of the tips and tricks and want to share it with people who may be newer to caregiving.
Hey,
So just
Amber,
connect. Yeah.
yeah, when you send the slides over, if you can also include that list, I'll go ahead and send that out to everyone.
Yeah, I definitely
Thank you so
will.
much.
And there's some also really great national resources that provide that connection for other caregivers. The Alzheimer's Association has a great website that has that social connectedness aspect to it as well. Also, Home Instead is a national program or in-home services thing, but they also have really great resources on the social connection between caregivers, but also tips like what we're talking about on there, and practical tips too as well. So there are some really national support groups out there that can help you in this process, because oftentimes maybe you can't do an in-person or whatever like that, and you just want to do a chat or a forum where you can see other people dealing with the similar situations you are. You can use those resources to help you do that as well.
There's a lot out there. And so back to, AAA services, if you don't know where to start, if you are a caregiver, if you're new to caregiving, you can give us a call, or I guess it'd be give me a call specifically, and I can at least try to connect you to some of these resources, because there's a lot out there. But I know the reality is, as a caregiver, you don't have the time to sit searching on the computer all the time. So we can share those things with you. And then the last thing on here, in the last part of our presentation, is highlighting once again that you'll want to take some time for yourself during the holidays, during all the hustle and bustle, during your caregiving duties. Self-care doesn't have to be big, extravagant things. You don't have to be going to get massages or going to the spa. Self-care may be just a matter of stepping outside for a few minutes during a family gathering to release some stress or soak up some vitamin D, which is a mood booster. It might be just taking a nap or something during the holidays and all the, again, hustle and bustle. Asking someone, hey, can you watch whoever it is you're caring for a little bit so I can step out? And just as often as you can, just try to find those minutes for yourself, because every little bit counts.
And that can be as simple as 5-minute meditation or prayer or a song or whatever like that in your car as you're transitioning from one thing to another. Those moments of focusing on yourself, any form of meditation or self-care, reading a book or anything like that, that allows your body to deal with the stress and collect yourself to face the next battle. Now, all these things we tell you, we understand that they are a lot of things that, wow, they look great on the list, but applying them is really difficult, or there's no way, or they don't know my situation and that can't do that, or whatever. We understand that caregiving is the most difficult thing to do. And oftentimes maybe we need to focus on what is one thing I can tackle that will help me. What is one thing, and try to do them all. Maybe we can't do it all, but maybe pick one thing. Maybe open communication is not going to work in your family, and there's poor communication. Okay, I can't do that, but what can I do? What can I share? What can I do to change to deal with my stress? And so sometimes we feel like we have to do it all, just like that video said that Amber shows. But in reality, if you do one thing, that will help. That will give us the strength to maybe do the next tackle, the next thing that we need to do.
So small goals and small steps sometimes, but yeah.
So we have a question saying, how can we contact you for additional questions for Amber? Do you have a specific email? Oh, look at that.
This is our phone number, but I'll put in the chat my direct phone number and email address, so you can reach out to me either way.
Perfect, thank you.